Hello. I'm so glad I'm here today talking to you. It's been an extremely interesting week for me. I can't tell you how many people I have spoken to this past week, and I've learned a great deal. I can't remember when I started talking to all of you about the concept of love yourself. One of the things I learned this week is that maybe even I did not understand what it means when I say success has to do with loving yourself. And I'm hoping that those of you who have been following what it is, the new direction that I want to go in, will stay long enough for me to get through a change in direction, not a fork in the road. None of us would be here if it were not for the fact that we want to change the fact that there is too much fat in our bodies. Who and how it got there at this moment in time is really irrelevant. What's relevant is that you're here. And if you don't deal with being here, then you're not going to deal. Number two, there are two major issues, and they are truly separate. Issue number one is losing weight. You're here because AccuWeight Loss says, if you come, we will help you. And we will help you lose that weight. And we think in the process of losing that weight, you'll be happy. Some of you have been exceptionally successful. Most of you are successful. We couldn't be in business promising 15 pounds fat in 30 days for all these 20 plus years and not be successful. But some of you are not happy with the total process. In my conversation, hi Donna, hi Jackie, and as people's names pop up, I hope you don't mind my saying hello. I'm learning all about this Facebook kind of thing, and I hope you bear with me as I move along. Hi Courtney. Hi Elizabeth. Well, let me go on. There are three phases to our program, and today I only want to talk about phase number one. Phase number one is I want to lose the weight. I want to feel good about losing the weight, and I want to be successful in the process, both functionally and psychologically. as I started to say, one of the things that I learned this week is that some people have had a concern because they've said to me, but Dr. Schwartz, I love myself. And you keep saying you've got to love yourself. And I realize that that is what I mean, but it's colored by many different kinds of things. And one of the biggest things it's covered by is a word that is interconnected with love yourself, and that is comfort. And we've gone over many, many, many times the simple fact that several hours after you were born, and they returned you to your mother, and you fussed, which means on some level there was discomfort. You were given a breast or a bottle. It comforted you. You fell asleep. You were held. It was warm. It was delicious. And into your mind was the connection between using food to comfort yourself as a method of loving yourself, and that somehow or other, between then and today, the process got distorted. Hear me. Love yourself is the underlying issue. Comfort is the bigger issue. And I'd like to piece it and go through with developing some strategies to help you along the way. Now, before I forget, this is what we are talking about. This is a pound of fat. 1 pound of fat. And notice, £30 would be 30 of these. So for those of you who are losing 3.5 pounds a week, think about 3.5 of these coming off your body every single week. Now I'm going to put this down and I want to focus. What's been most exciting for me in my conversations with people, and I have been pulling out the list, and I have been calling people to touch base, to see how they're doing, to see if I could be of help, and to learn. I need to learn how to help you be more successful. The first question I want you to stop and think about: how does it feel to be on the program? And people have been saying to me that their emotional cravings really press on them because, on the one hand, they want to remain on the program and be successful, and on the other, this feeling of wanting and there are different times of day for many people. Last night, I spoke to a woman who had been on the program years ago, and I, using the AcuPoint Finder, helped her put on her beads Thursday night, and she started the program Friday morning. She weighs over 300 pounds. And she said to me, Dr. Schwartz, pretty much during the day I can handle. I'm busy. I do go to work. She's a healthcare worker. And I work 12 hours from 7 in the morning till 7 at night. And when I get home, I have a problem. I've worked all day, and I've warded off the comments that people at work have made, because I remember, Dr. Schwartz, what you said to me during my initial conference with you, that people who criticize what I'm doing are criticizing not because of what I'm doing, because of what I'm doing and how it's affecting them. Everybody is a doctor, everybody is a lawyer, everybody is a teacher, everybody is an astronaut, everybody has the answer. And I said to her, you're absolutely right. Everybody has an answer. And if their answer does not correspond to your answer, then you have a problem with them, because they need you to agree with them. They could be right and you could be wrong, but that's irrelevant. They could be wrong and you could be right, and it doesn't make a difference. Since you don't agree with them, you have a problem. Now, all of us, me included, want to feel loved. It's a wonderful feeling. When that baby is wrapped and warm and fed and comforted with food and falls asleep, that's wonderful. And the power of that enters into the unconscious, and we all have that feeling. As we grow up, when we are acknowledged by other people in a positive kind of way, it feels good. And many of us, remember, I used to be a psychologist in private practice, and people would come to me, and nobody was coming to me who was happy. Everyone who came to me had problems in their life, and they wanted me to help them with their problems. And better still, if I could snap my finger with a magic answer, that would have been wonderful. The problem is, and that television program from years ago rings always in my head, Naked City, and it to start off, there were 8 million people in the Naked City. Now, if there were 8 million people, then there were 8 million different problems. Now, how could I be so incredible that I have the answer for 8 million people? Obviously, I didn't. But there are basic scenarios. And everybody fits into those scenarios. And one of the most critical one of those is being comfortable and feeling loved. And love is based upon acknowledgement in some way. I could take drugs out of your life. I could take alcohol out of your life. I cannot take food out of your life. I've taught you that you are living off the fat in your body that has been converted into sugar, and that you are not losing muscle or organ, and it is not impacting on your metabolism. So there is no hunger because you're living off your fat. But Dr. Schwartz, I'm craving. I see these things, I watch the programs, and I break down. I give in. And I feel terrible. I feel ashamed of myself. I feel upset. I feel weak. This is a dilemma, and you have the ability to turn it into a positive and gain strength from it. Now, I said to this woman, the one who's over 300 pounds, here's what I want you to do with regard to the cravings. And I shared with her the magic protocol. When I spoke to her last evening, so she'd been on the program, I put on the beads with her Thursday night. Friday morning she started milk. Saturday milk. Sunday was a vegetable day. And she did not wish to stay home, so she also worked over the weekend. And she said to me, it was difficult at work because co-workers were, because she didn't hide, saw her on Saturday, a milk day, and all she had was milk. And Sunday, fruit vegetable day. And they criticized her for what it is that she was doing, especially in this time of pressure. She came home Friday night, craving. She came home Saturday night, craving. And I spoke to her after 8 o'clock on Sunday, telling me she wanted to cheat. I said, I understand. Based upon everything you shared with me, of course. Why would you not want to? And then I said to her, what does it mean to you to be on the program? Why are you doing AccuWeight Loss? And she said, remember I did it X number of years ago and I was successful. I'm heavier than I ever was. What it is that I'm doing is not working. It's difficult for me to walk. It's difficult for me to go upstairs. It's difficult for me to just get through the day physically. And I don't want it to be that way anymore. And I remembered AccuWeight Loss, and because you have this ability to do the program remotely, I joined. What I said to her was, let's do the magic protocol. And let's learn that we will not allow ourselves to be sucked in by other people's issues. To be sitting down at work with someone else, drinking milk while they are having a meal, and they say to you, oh, have a taste or whatever else. And you say to them, because this woman was open and transparent, she said, I'm on this unusual program that I've tried before. It works for me. She said she felt that she was doing something wrong in their eyes. And when she came home, she craved to give herself something that would comfort her. And she did the magic protocol. Now, this is very, very interesting. She acknowledged to me that there were two factions going on in her head. She has a sister who lives with her who is not on the program, and her sister had left some things in the refrigerator. And when she opened the refrigerator, it was a smile, because that would satisfy her, even if it were momentary. And then she remembered the magic protocol. She said, I went and got Listerine Ready tabs, and I did what you said, Dr. Schwartz. I did three Qigong breaths, and I remembered what you said. It did stop me. It did center me. It did relax me. But most of all, you said to me, I was the one who forced myself to do the Qigong breathing. And I remembered you said, since I was the one who forced myself to do the Qigong breathing, that I really had the power and I was in control. And so me, who had the power and who was in control, told me, who had the power, to take the Listerine Ready tab and put it in my mouth. I did so. I chewed down, and the taste filled my mouth. And I realized I could not cheat if I wanted to, because the taste in my mouth would contaminate the taste of that cheat. And I was excited, because what you said to me worked. I wanted that cheat, but I want to get this weight off more. And since I was control, and since I want to get rid of this weight, my doing what I did made me feel good about me. So now, Dr. Schwartz, I can say to you, I made love to myself by putting a Listerine Ready tab in my mouth and doing the Qigong breathing. And I'm going to do it again and again and again until I got it right. I spoke to another woman also hadn't been on the program for a while. And she said to me, Dr. Schwartz, I'm so glad you called me because I feel I can be honest with you, but I'm never sure what other people are thinking, and to tell them what's really on my mind with regard to weight loss, to regard what's going on. But by just talking it through with you, and I've only been back on the program for a week, talking it through with you, even though it's just a few minutes, we were on the phone, I relaxed. Because I realized that you understood that I was conflicted. I asked her a question. I said, do you see me approving of you? And she said, that's a very interesting question. I liked the fact that you didn't criticize me. But as I was talking, I realized that you were listening. You were asking me questions, so I was doing the thinking, and you led me to the answer, which was, if I do it the way you trained me to do it, I'm going to get what I want. And if I get what I want, I'm really going to feel good. So thank you for calling me on the phone. And I said to her, I'm going to share this Monday night. How did you get me to call you? She said, you know. I said, yes. Tell me so I can tell them truthfully how it happened. And she said, I sent you an email. I said to you, I'm struggling. Would you give me a call? And you did. She sent me an email. I read the email, and I gave her a call. She felt better. I felt better. Because that's the reason I'm doing this. You see, it's very hard for me to accept that I've passed my 85th birthday. It makes absolutely no sense to me at all, because I see myself as being one of you. Being past 85, I can't be one of you anymore. There's too much time back there. But there is something, because every single time that I help you take a step further to change your life, to feel good about you, to be back in control, that makes me feel wonderful. Now, how do you feel about doing the program? Do you feel deprived? If you feel deprived, what are you being deprived of? The other day, My wife had a telephone call which really upset her. We were sitting and talking, not in this room, someplace else in the house, and I put my arms around her and gave her a hug. She started to cry. I said, "Help me understand, why are you crying?" And she said to me, "Because it felt so good that you wanted to share my pain. It made it easier." That's what we as a group are all about. It's why I've said to you over the years that Alcoholics Anonymous is the most successful program for addiction, because once you walk into a room, it's an even playing ground. Every single person there is a sinner, no more or less than you, no better or worse than you. Some people are longer in maintaining their sobriety, and they're good to talk to because they have experiences in life that they can share with you and help you. We are addicted to food if we're overweight. We have been using food for comfort. Comfort is another word for loving ourselves. I put my arms around my wife and gave her a hug instead of giving her a piece of apple pie. I promise you, if I gave her a piece of, well, it wouldn't have been apple pie, it would have comforted her. But it wouldn't have made her happy, because she's a program graduate and has kept the weight off for over 23 years. And she's very proud of that, because she enjoys being in control of herself. I firmly believe that what you send out into the universe attracts likeness. I can remember how good it felt when a professor, Dr. Delatour was his name. I remember now. The man was brilliant. And he called me aside one day. I was in college. And he said to me, "Charles, what are you looking forward to in the future?" And I said to him, "Well, my father wants me to be a dentist, and I'd like to make him happy, so that's why I'm pre-med." He said to me, "I want to come back as the garbage commissioner." I looked at him and just, I'm doing now. I laughed. I said, "Why?" He says, "I'll always have a business. There's always garbage." Now, this was a man who spoke several languages. And if you remember, I was becoming a pre-med student, and he had letters from some of the most prestigious people in the world, whom as a sociologist, he had had interactions with them. General de Gaulle, Herman Rorschach, David Wexler, and I was in awe of him. And yet he said to me, I want to come back as the garbage commissioner. Safety and security. I'll always have a job. There will always be garbage. No one is immune to pressure. But if you make yourself important enough to be happy about the choices having nothing to do with anyone else. The woman did the magic protocol. And when she put the Tic Tacs in her mouth, from practice, she realized, one, she was the one putting the Tic Tacs in her mouth. No one was forcing her to do that. She realized that the taste of the Tic Tacs would not match the cheat she was considering doing. But she was proactively taking charge and doing it. And because of the fact that it was not the first time she was doing it, she realized by repetition that the moment she put the Tic Tacs in her mouth and swished them around, even if she gave in and tried to cheat, the contamination of the tastes between the cheat and the Tic Tacs would force her to spit it out. And what did she really want? To be happy about herself because her overweight is not making her happy. Did she offend anyone? Not in the real world. Other people may be offended because there are people in her life who think she should not be doing this. That doesn't make them right, yet their criticism or disagreement was affecting her. And you cannot argue and be successful. I have an opinion. Your opinion is different than mine. I am trying to convince you to change your opinion to be like mine. But you're fixed in your opinion. Whatever the reason is, it has nothing to do with what I'm doing. You are fixed in your opinion because you are thinking that what I am thinking is affecting you in some kind of way, whether it's conscious or not, and you can't let me get away with that. And it's going to bother you. And so you're going to do things like tempt me, criticize me, explain to me, and we're going to play ping pong. And you're not going to stop until I give in. I'm a fool if I engage with you. I don't have to prove that I'm okay. You're telling me that I'm not okay. But the truth is, the moment I take the Tic Tacs and put them in my mouth, I'm proving that I'm okay. I have the power. I am in control. I am the boss of me. I like being the boss of me. And I don't ever want to go back to proving to you that I'm okay. Why do you want me to prove that I'm okay? You said you were my friend, right? Well, if I'm your friend, I should be okay. I'm with you because as far as I'm concerned, you're okay. Do I disagree with you? Yeah. Do I sometimes think you're really foolish? Yeah. Will I support you jumping off the roof? No. Will I agree with you? No. Can I stop you? No. So what am I going to do? I'm going to listen to you and talk to you. And maybe I'll even tell you how scared I am you standing on that ledge. How it upsets me. Because you're my friend and I don't want to lose you. The issue of approval has to start with you. You have to approve of yourself. And you approve of yourself by practicing. And that's why I've often brought up the rule of 21. My old habit, when I'm emotional and under pressure, would be to take something sweet. Made no difference what it is, and put it in my mouth. And it broadened to putting something in my mouth. And I could munch, I could chew, I could do many things. And as I told you, Dr. Chu said, Dr. Schwartz, you cannot be an overweight doctor. He didn't use those words. But I was doing it because I had a momentary sense of comfort and escape. The fact that it didn't work was irrelevant because the feeling of comfort felt so good. Now I put the Tic Tacs or the Ready Tabs in my mouth. I happen to like peppermint, and so the Ready Tabs, and I use them because they're really powerful, and they kind of force me back, and it's like, whoo, wow. And as soon as I do that, there's a smile that goes on inside my head. What's the smile? You're in control. What you did, you know exactly now because you've practiced it, exactly what's going to happen. I put the Ready Tabs in my mouth. The taste fills my mouth. I'm awakened. I sit back and I realize I want that cheat, but I won't have it simply because if I put it in my mouth, it's going to taste terrible and I'll spit it out. And then comes the other piece. I would have felt guilt. I would have felt remorse. I would have felt upset. Why did I do it? I would have castigated myself. And I've avoided all of that. A simple little ready tab. A couple little Tic Tacs. I'm in charge. I feel good about me. And I know that every single time I do it, it'll work. And the more I do it, the more it'll work. And the more it works, the more I want to do it. Because I like being able to walk up and down the stairs. I like being able to stay up at night and not fall asleep. The whole quality of my physical life is better simply because I'm acting as though I'm important enough to take care of me. And you want to know something? If it were necessary, there's no question my wife would take care of me. But why would I want to be in that position? To impose on her when doing what I'm doing, it's not necessary. And the more I talk to you, the more I want you to realize that we have to go beyond the psychological underpinnings that have kept us prisoners for years. I want you to change your opinion of yourself based upon taking control of yourself. Learning to accept criticism has a twofold nature. First of all, I don't like being criticized. But there's a part of me now that recognizes there's the possibility that the criticism is valid. And if the criticism is valid, I should care enough about myself to consider how that criticism could help me. Loving yourself means taking charge of who you are. Loving yourself is creating habits in your life that are no longer thoughtless, that help you. So that you don't suddenly say, oh, why did I do it? I break down, I'm so upset with myself, and then many of you even punish yourselves for having given in, when you have the ability to create a new habit. And remember what I'm saying to you. What you send out there into the universe is going to catch on and come back. I can be reached at drs@accuweight.com. Dr. S at accuweight.com. I heard a program on the radio. The doctors, you have his personal email. Well, you've got my personal email. You even have my personal phone number. 201-483-9400. If I'm not there, and you leave a message, I will call you back. If any of you out there have ever sent a message and I have not called back, I'd like to know about it, because I have never been aware of any time someone has raised a question with me that I haven't tried to respond. I heard a program out there today that they advertise all over the place, and I heard them say, if you do the program, you're going to go off your thyroid medication. And I say to myself, nobody says anything, because they're advertising and spending lots of money, and therefore they have to be charging a lot of money to be spending as much money as they, and to make a statement like that. There's another program that says, we promise you your money back. Do you read the fine print? I am promising you that anyone who refers someone here who needs to lose weight is doing them a favor. And you should feel good about doing someone else a favor, because it says, number one, I'm doing it, and I think it would be good for you too. And because I care about you, that's why I'm doing it. And you're going to feel good too, and I'm going to feel good that you feel good. Step one. Let's uncover the reasons that we do what we do, and let's develop better habits that give us more of what we really want and are not there to continue what makes us unhappy. Thank you very much for listening to me. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope to hear from you, and I hope I get a positive response should you be one of the people that I call just to touch base. Lose it, stabilize it, maintain it. Take care of yourselves. Stay well.